Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Beatles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi.
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Kilabathian,
Stairs. Hello.
and Krister.
Hello.
With that introduction, let us head into the news for this week, where we had Bowler Update 32 Preview number 5. And this week, of course, they were continuing along with the raid testing, but on top of this, they finally had a preview for the legendary item reward track. And on this, they note the following. 1. Please note that this system is functional, but very much a work in progress. We want your feedback, but please understand that not everything is yet complete. This reward track is seasonal. At the end of the season, an all-new track will replace the current one. Since this is an LI focused, some rewards, traceries, tokens, ancient scripts will reappear season to season, but their frequency and drop value will change over time. More details on how this works will be provided at a later date. Rewards
Like how that sounds.
No, especially not with a cap of 10,000. It's going to be like, hey, to get one tracery, you have to have 9,500 or something.
What? 9,500?
Ancient script, if they're going to keep changing it? This is what I'm hearing. They
No,
might do
no,
better
no,
with
no,
it than they did with Embers.
No. The ancient script is, they're not changing the cost of the various item pieces that you need. But they're talking
It's just
about,
if you have a tracery that you really need because you're a hunter, it may not show up if you miss it in the spring until next spring.
well, no, it's not going to work that way.
Okay.
I'll go into a few more details on what I saw during testing after we go through the release notes. Rewards must be claimed in sequence at this time due to technical limitations. This is something we hope to improve in the future. I guess that means if you wanted to, that maybe in the future, if it might be possible to skip the tracery ones, because I noticed that every 5 times through, there is an ancient traceries one. So at the current time, you have to do them in sequence. So if you want reward number 20, you're going to have to claim numbers 1 through 19. We'll see if they can get around that limitation. Runes applied in bulk is not functioning at this time. We know it's valuable quality of life feature, and it is a big focus for implementation. In other words, we hope it's in there before the release.
Spoiler alert.
There will be a repeatable reward at the end of the rewards track. This will be implemented in a later build because it certainly wasn't in this build. In this build, there were 100 rewards along the track, and because there was no repeatable at the end, it meant that
You started over again?
No, what it meant was it was impossible to finish up number 100 because there was no cap on the amount of XP it needed. So obviously they're going to have to fix that before I think that when they add the repeatable at the end, that's when that will be covered.
How much XP is reward number 100? Infinity.
That's what it was like in the current build. Though I'm wondering what the repeatable reward would be, because the most likely one I could think of would be script. So we'll see how far I'm off the mark on that one. We are looking for ways to improve the scroll bar. Your feedback will definitely help to drive how this feature will be finalized. Yes, the scroll bar, there were a lot of complaints about the scroll bar. So I don't know if that was originally in the patch notes, but I think they added it in there if they didn't, because, people didn't like the scroll bar because of it was this horizontal scroll bar, and you had 100 items to worry about. It was a real pain to go through. And certainly a lot like the Allegiance reward scroll bar, if you've ever done allegiances. And if you've been doing missions in Gundabad, you will know what I mean. And that's what we've got here on the rewards track. I don't know how many people had time to check this out during when Bulwer was up.
I don't have Aurora downloaded.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Been
check it
trying
out,
to
but one of my
survive.
kinmates did,
All right.
and he certainly mentioned the horizontal scroll, which was hysterical because
Yeah.
obviously a lot of people had a problem with that.
Yes.
But he wasn't. He understood that it was still kind of at the beginning, so he wasn't too impressed with what he saw in terms of the rewards. But he figured that was going to be something that is a moving target, like they're saying.
Yeah.
But there was a couple. I thought there was a couple like. Now, of course, now I'm thinking about it, I can't recall what he said, but I thought there was a couple major things people were screaming about, too. Not the scroll bar, but there was something else about it that they were upset about. But for the
Well,
life of me, I can't.
I think some people are assuming that by the end of the first season, they're going to max out a top end LI, and that is definitely not the intent of this thing. So some people were giving feedback as if that's what the whole thing is for, so you can max out
Okay.
your LI. I don't know if that's what this person was talking about, but I know that it's based on some feedback. Some people seem to be thinking that this is supposed to give you everything you ever want for your LI. I don't think that's the intent. So that's it. But this is what I found during my testing on there is that everything's. I told you before that there are 100 rewards in there. You could divide those into blocks of 5. They have this cycle of 5 going in through there, where the first of each 5 is always script. As I said, this is how it was on here. It's always a small copper script, 200 script coming in on those all the time. Then the second one was always an enhancement room. Now, in the early parts of the reward track, this second one was a yellow one. Then later on in the season, it became a purple one. As in very late in the season, if you got up into the 80s and 90s, then you started to get cyan ones at that point. Then
sorry, if you happen to be having trouble spending your ancient script below 10,000, then you can't do this at all, or it actually adds to that.
Well, I have a feeling that's the reason why one of the pieces of feedback I think they were getting was when I was talking about rewards must be claimed in sequence and that some people might not like it. I think that's the reason why some people won't be liking that you have to do it in sequence, because if you'd want to be able to skip the script ones if you were at your max, right? So I would say that's probably
Well, I mean,
number one.
unless they act like when you claim items and it just goes above your max, that would be okay.
No, it does. But it's certainly at the current time when I tested it, it will consume the claim, but it will not bring you above your max. So in other words, it
So
will.
you get negative value for using the reward system.
Well,
It's
if
more
you
like a
wanted,
D-wards system.
well, we can only
you
hope that
lose
they
trade
tweak that.
items and you get nothing in return. So it's
And once you complete
nothing.
the final tier, you lose your LI. No.
Well, anyway, that was the third item in each group of 5 was a tracery, which at the very early bits it was, of course, a purple one. Then later on, it would be a cyan one, and then I think very in the end it was actually might have been possible. I think were you getting a gold one near the end? I think my gold ones might have been only on the fibers or something like that. But anyway, you start out with purple traceries on there. I can't remember if that one ever got improved or not. Then on the fourth one in each cycle, was a purple, where it was an enhancement rune, except this one, instead of starting at yellow as the number 2 slot, the number 4 slot was giving a purple one at the beginning, then later on giving cyan ones, and then near the end of the reward track was giving gold ones. Then finally, at 5, it varied. This is the one that varied, and where they had the unusual rewards coming in. Like at the beginning, it was giving you 600 script. Then, later on after that, there was one where it was supposed to be giving you a chest of, it was marked a chest of embers. Well, I don't know whether, but what was inside it was not a chest of embers. Instead, it was a gold, one of those gold tokens that you could use in order to create any tracery you wanted. I have a feeling that it was originally going to be that gold token, but they had decided to make it embers instead, but they changed the name but didn't change what was actually in it. I guess we'll find out next week.
So you're
what's
saying
actually in
like
there.
it could be negative rewards?
Why would it be negative rewards?
Well, because it's really easy to cap embers.
Oh, okay, I see what
and
you
it's really easy to cap script. So if you're getting script, 2 things, script, embers, I don't know. I'm having trouble
sounds like
believing
to me
this
you
is a
shouldn't be
reward
claiming
system.
them until you spend the stuff.
Well, yeah, but then you have to like try to figure out what you're supposed to spend it on.
Well,
That takes time and doing homework and stuff, because I still don't understand all of the new ally system, and I don't want to like get the wrong things. I already have some traceries that I can't disenchant because my script is still maxed, and I have limited inventory space. I don't know. I'm not persuaded yet that this is a rewards track, I guess.
Okay.
The question I was going to ask is, how much do we hate it?
I'm still kind of neutral. Like, I now have
Just last
space
time
in my
they
shared
changed-
storage for all these heritage runes, and
I mean, the last couple times they've changed ally stuff, we've really hated it. So on a scale of 1 to that, how much do we hate it?
that might depend on whether or not I end up having to actually replace all my ally stuff every, like, 10 or 20 levels.
Well, you would expect to do that because...
No, because it's going to grow with me.
The LI grows with you. The
You still have to, you have to replace your traceries every 20 levels, every 10 levels, as it is.
Yeah, no, I hate it.
I mean, that was kind of the point of the new ally system, was you can keep the weapon, but you still have to swap out all of the crap on it. So really, it's not that different from the old ally system. In fact, it's worse than the imbued ally system.
Yeah, no, I thought it was supposed to be like better than the imbued ally system because you could start earlier and then keep going.
Yeah, no, but
no, they made it worse.
It's not every 10
I hate
levels
all
that you're swapping out traceries, but it is every specific number of levels. Like, you get them at 50 and then you swap them out at it's like 80 or so. So it's like 20 levels?
So what do they do? Like, unequip like your armor that leaves you walking around in your underwear?
No, you can still use the old stuff, just supposedly the new stuff is better. So you're supposed to be working toward getting the new stuff. But by the time you've gotten the new stuff, you're past that tier and into the next tier.
Well, a little detail, yes.
Yeah, especially if they're not expecting us to be able to max an ally in a season, like...
You're not expected to max an L. I think they're not expecting anyone to
had
get gold
maxed
in
allies.
everything, ever.
I had maxed allies. If I can't get maxed allies again, like, what's the point of this whole thing?
I think the LI, I think if someone had maxed allies, it'd be overpowered.
Yeah, I think the point is for nobody to actually have maxed allies.
So the point is for us to spend all year grinding so that we can spend all the next year grinding for new stuff.
Basically. So you're constantly grinding, and then there's never a reason to stop playing.
No, there's never a reason to play anybody in the newest content. That's what I'm hearing.
But Sans, you could get a cup holder on your LI.
No, it doesn't come with a Moomak. It doesn't come with a Mazda Li. It doesn't come with gear I can keep. Like, for my first MMO, I'm still not used to MMOs, obviously, but this seems like a really, like, poor use of my time if I'm always like, no, I can do better things. Like, get more war steeds.
I mean, that's a fair assessment, because it really does feel like the goal is to be constantly grinding so that you're never done.
And, like, I want to keep exploring new things. Like, I love going into new areas. But if you've got to spend, like, all your time trying to get good gear, then it's not nearly as much fun. For me. It might be fun for some people.
What's your definition of good gear? I think is part of the
gear that looks good.
Gear that looks good, and gear that if my friends are like, oh hey, we're gonna run this raid, I can be like, oh hey, I'd love to come and join the raid. Like, not be like, oh, that sounds like fun, and I actually have time this week, but I haven't had time for the last 3 weeks, so I don't have good gear, sorry. Like, or last 3 months. Yay, school.
Well, there is that.
We discovered a couple of places in Gundabad that you probably don't really want to explore.
Well, fair.
The Den of Puglok.
No, that's really cool looking, though.
No, it's good to go and just look at. Don't go through it.
Well, I mean, if you go through it at, like, level 131, it's not that bad.
Oh, the Walmart there is really sketchy.
I'm sorry.
Okay, the Walmart's pretty sketchy.
Maybe for you.
But it's gorgeous.
Maybe it wasn't bad for you, but as we shall see when we get to This Week in Gaming,
okay, my first
I have
time
a different opinion of it.
Deadly as well.
Oh, well. Anyway. So there are various things that are going to be in there, mostly, of course, related to LIs. We'll see how things get tweaked next week on the matter, but that's the current state of matters. So let's go into the rest of the release notes. First of all, in the new housing area, there is a note on something that's intended is that in order to prevent decorations from intruding onto other players' properties, the mobile hooks on the lower courtyard of the deluxe Erebor houses and the huge enormous hooks on the base Erebor houses have their vertical movement restricted.
This is frustrating, Pine Leaf. I'm serious. I have never been really interested in housing, but if my house could be an eyesore that intrudes on other people's properties, I would have been doing this the entire time. That really makes me mad that they're taking that away. Listen, your 12-foot tall Saruman is staring into my living room. No!
It would be even better if you could actually see out of the houses, so you could see that on your neighbor's property.
All right, that would be great. I would be all in for housing if that was the case too. I got to tell you. Like, that's really what housing neighborhoods are missing for me, is the ability to look out the window and complain about what the neighbors have on their lawn.
That's right. That's right. That'll make it feel really authentic.
Can you believe that they put that out in the yard?
Man, it's blocking the view of my ice statue of Rimmel. I've got to change this.
What do you mean Middle Earth doesn't have any HOAs, right?
That's right.
Also, in the general notes, Stable Masters of the Troshals, parts of Eregion, Lothlorien, Southern Mirkwood, and Aaron Lasglen now use the Elk travel mode.
Yeah, because that's what we were missing, was elk travel mounts.
Now the question though, the burning question. What do the mounts look like before you get on them? Are these like the horses that change to elks? Or are these like elks? Are they something else that changes into elks?
Even better
question. Must visit to find out.
They are Moomoks that change to elks.
Just to make you mad. That would be so sad.
Even better question.
I think it's going to be fun though.
Are these elk mounts as drunk as the goat mounts?
Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I just want to know if they look really awesome. So I'm going to have to go take some stable rides.
I mean, they're elks, so they probably just look really majestic. And, I mean, they're elf mounts.
What? Elves are not going to be riding elks.
Apparently,
wait, I thought hobby horses were elf mounts.
Okay, so I have to admit, one elf in a movie rode an elk. Not all elves, you know. I mean, look at which elf it was. He doesn't even have snacks.
Oh,
because he fed him to the elk.
I just had a brilliant idea, you guys.
Yeah?
Stable horses in the Shire should all be hobby horses. That would be so much fun. Be like, hello, amazing, hi elf, actually. Welcome to the Shire. Take a ride to Hobbiton, please. That would be so awesome.
That would be pretty great.
This is like my best idea since Moomox or War Steeds of 5. I can't decide. But I really like this idea.
Would it be potentially controversial if we... What about introducing a mount that's literally a rickshaw pulled by 4 hobbits?
No. This is transportation
That'd be controversial.
for hobbits.
Nice.
This is... You might have that in a different area, but not in, like, the Hobbit area. I mean, like, with the way dwarves talk.
I guess in Hobbiton it wouldn't happen.
But no.
That sounds more like Bree.
Yeah.
Right. Added some clarifying dialogue to Chapter 6.1, The Artist and the Apprentice, to make it clear which character will advance the quest. Enemies in Elder Slade and Gunabad missions now execute their induction skills in 5 seconds, down from 10 seconds. Oh my goodness gracious, there are going to be lots of summoned mobs now.
Oh boy.
And as for classes, for the Brawlers, all group buff effects smaller than 10 meters have been expanded to 10 meters, and all attack AoE shorter than 7 meters have been extended to 7 meters.
That should make things a little bit easier to organize and manage. I like this.
Okay. And they had the first testing of the new raid at Tier 2.
Tell me why I thought that was the Hiddles Horde of Abenakra. And I was like, Hiddleston Horde? I'm in. Tom Hiddleston Horde. Okay. Point me to it. I will be in that raid all the time. Sorry. My eyes are seeing things again.
Isn't that what eyes are designed for? For seeing things?
Yes, but they're not seeing the right things. Or maybe they are seeing the right things and my brain's just warped and a little bit rotten. It's kind of like, no, it's this.
Then let's head into the LOTRO Beacon. LOTRO Beacon issue number 234. We're on this week's Community Spotlight. Deco de Malou has your Update 32 housing info. You can learn more ambient environments, walls, and more coming to the game in Update 32 on the Deco de Malou blog. Also, Laurel's Den has created a way to scroll through all of the outfits on the blog, and you check out the new outfit and more over on Laurel's Den's blog. And the Grand Order of the Lost Madam brings their Yuletide celebration to its end this Sunday on Marlin. You can read more about this theater and party event over on the Lost Madam blog. But of course, by the time this podcast goes up, it might be a bit late for that.
Also, it is almost February. What do you mean Yuletide?
They have a long Yuletide celebrations. It's like the Chinese New Year celebration where they celebrate for a month.
Yes.
The Green-Eyed Gamer is looking for anyone over level 12 to join her on Saturday on Gladden for the latest Slayer Saturday. You can get more information over on her Twitter feed. Orlandon and friends are hosting a concert. Well, okay, that's already over. Never mind. But perhaps if you follow the link, there will be some sort of feed that you could be able to review it. Now let's go into our weekly comment. If you could have a member of the Fellowship of the Ring join you permanently on your journey, who would you choose and why?
Pippin, because it would always be interesting.
Always
Legolas, because I'd get a 2-for-1. Gimli would be there. Did I lie? I mean,
Krister, did you have something?
Well, I'm thinking, I think Stan needs to think about this a little bit, because also that means you could have a Mumek. Oh, I guess Mumek wasn't part of the Fellowship, I guess, technically. I guess attacking the Fellowship isn't being part of the Fellowship, is it?
I don't think it really counts. I mean, if it counted, I'd take the Mumek. Because then I wouldn't be taking anyone away from their homes. It would be nice. I could save the Mumek.
Yeah, I just don't like the word permanently in this question either. It's just like, okay, our adventures are over. You can't stay in my apartment, man. You gotta go. I'm sorry, Aragorn. You gotta go. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, you say to Sam, I said, okay, sorry, Sam, but I think someone called Rosie wanted to speak with you.
You've got really good cooking, but you're kind of needed elsewhere.
Yes. Let's see. Who would be someone interesting for your journey?
I don't know. I always like old guys telling stories, so probably Bilbo would be my selection.
He's not part of the Fellowship.
Oh, gosh darn it! You and all your rules, Terry.
And you definitely don't want Gandalf, despite him also being an old guy who tells stories. He would be such a buzzkill.
Maybe the actual Gandalf would be pretty cool, though. I don't know.
Are you kidding? He's a wizard. He'd totally be a buzzkill.
No, he makes great fireworks. And he sends people off on random adventures. And then he goes on random adventures, too. I mean, it could be fun.
Yeah, and if he was
random adventures are not always the same random adventures he sends you on.
If he was joining you on your adventures, he would just be standing back and saying, all right, I'll be over here smoking my pipe. You go do the thing.
that pretty much covers it.
I mean, we all know that's how that would turn out. No, actually,
he has a great port to Rivendell.
I would bring Boromir, because first of all, then I would save him from the orcs. And give him a second chance to, redeem himself. And second of all, Boromir's not useless. He killed all those orcs. He would be right there charging in along with Terry, and you would have two people recklessly running into three if you bring Cass. So 3 champions just running into combat. It'd be glorious.
Mm-hmm. I suppose that I would most likely be bringing in Legolas, simply because whenever I have a skirmish soldier, 90% of the time it's an archer.
Like I said, though, if wherever Legolas goes, Gimli will go, and vice versa. So, I mean, you get a 2-for-1 there.
Well, that's the disadvantage, because I don't want a dwarf yelling out Baruch Kazad every time I'm trying to sneak
You can make him whisper it. He did it once.
Baruch Kazad. Oh, well, I guess that'll be useful for those times when I need some melee support. Now, let's head into the fan site news. Clearly Delicious makes Holly Hornblower's prize blueberry pie, and you could check how that's done over on the cooking blog. And yes, she does assure us that she does leave out the spoiled berries and only uses fresh ones.
Oh.
And Contains Moderate Peril has a preview for Update 32. You can see pics from Borer on the Contains Moderate Peril blog.
Oh, you said pick with a C. I thought you said pigs. I'm like, pigs from Bull Roar. What? What did I miss?
Obviously previewing the new mounts or something?
Yeah.
Deca de Blues voting for the 12th Housing Week in Middle-earth contest runs through Sunday, so only a little bit of time left for that. LOTRO Stream is your first stop for finding LOTRO on Twitch this week. Beneath Your Feet explores Ring Forges of Eregion. Winnie heads to the Gap of Rohan, and Lady Faye honors a loved one. Also on Twitch, Muckshifter plays on multiple servers. Queen Perwenthian hands out rocks, and Nilnardis quests on Shadowfax. And over on YouTube, Andang explains how you'll save a bunch of LOTRO points. MMO Reporter Network needs a champ, and Man of the West gets together for success. And the Blue Mountain.
If you say that wrong, MMO Reporter Network needs a Man of the West, and then things get real interesting. So yes, needs a champ, and then yes. Don't hear it wrong. Don't get it twisted like my ears and brain try to.
The Blue Mountains Regiment has uploaded a video of their Yule Party. You see the concert, poetry event, and more over on YouTube.
Also, as you will notice, we are not in the fan site news this week, which is a shame because I was really wanting to see something about Nazgul selfies from last week.
I know, right?
In the news, and no, we weren't. Nothing about Nazgul selfies. Oh my gosh.
Maybe they're pro Nazgul.
Yes. Let's head to the screenshot of the week, where the Witch Champion Elwing watches a sunset in Eregion in this week's screenshot of the week. Thanks to Professor Teacher G for sending in this week's screenshot. You can email your screenshot for consideration by sending it to lotro@sunnystonegames.com.
Huh. I always, if I got my mythology correct, I always thought witches exploded if they looked at the sun.
No, that's vampires.
Oh! That is a beautiful sunset.
Let's head to our store sales. Terry, what's for sale this week?
I don't know. I'm in the middle of a timed mission. Can somebody else do the store sales? Please.
Store sales, guys. Let's prepare for battle. You can get 25% off stat tomes, regeneration food, run speed boosts, attack damage boosts now through February 3rd. And also our weekly coupon this week, guys.
Our weekly coupon.
We get Landscape Soldier tokens with a coupon code of Fighty McFights-a-lot.
I love that coupon code, but I also love how it sets you up to envision your Landscape Soldier fighting in a way that might be. I don't know.
I just really wish that there were more instances where we could use the Landscape Soldier.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, I'd like it if the Landscape Soldier actually did decent damage.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they would scale up though.
Yeah, once you get past 100, there's a little bit of a scaling issue.
I want the ability to name my Landscape Soldier Fighty McFights-a-lot.
I think it'd be awesome if everybody named their sorcerer that name.
We're going to see a lot of Fighty McFights-a-lot out there. And shoots a lot, and
yes. Let's head into our week in gaming. Calabathian, what were you up to?
Oh Lord, here we go. You know it's going to be a good one. So it's all LOTRO this week. Mostly because this week I've been, doing stuff offline and stressing out. But it's probably why I'm finding everything so hilarious right now. It's like a release of stress right now. But first things first. I gleefully ran through the Lone Lands, along with the Tuesday group, the Academy on Friday, yesterday. Punching, kicking, and throwing mugs of alcohol at goblins, wargs, wolves, and spiders. It's never going to get old seeing a whole bunch of hobbits running through the tall grass, and you know this warg walking through this tall grass, it's minding its own business, and suddenly it gets bludgeoned by like 4 mugs all at once from nowhere, just out of the grass, and it falls over, knocked out. He's just been like, what? That never gets old. But we decided that the mugs are either full of Forsaken Ale or Goblin Grog. It's not going to be full of good stuff because that's what we're going to drink. Also, I started making up brawler drinking songs, and I was told I should write the lyrics to them down. So don't you tempt me with a good time, because I'll do it. We kind of opened some missions, and I did when I was playing Cassowary on Tuesday night in Gundabad. I also enabled Sansa's high diving tendencies on the balcony in I think Vernozel? Is that what it's called? Is that how you pronounce it? But yeah.
I don't know, but there was a big horizontal banner that looked like it should hold weight.
Yes, because and I kind of enabled her, and I was like, let's see if it'll hold weight. And she jumped, and spoiler alert, it doesn't, and you die. But
I landed right in the middle of it, though. It was a beautiful jump.
But you passed right through it, I'm assuming? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, just as though it wasn't there. It's like a ghost banner.
Yep. Yeah, I could just imagine all of those Gel Ruka wondering, oh, what happened?
It looks like a banner up there. I can't imagine why somebody jumped through our illusion.
It just occurred to me though that if they had actually put it, from high to low, that could totally be like a slide.
It would be fun.
Vernozel is the start of a dwarven Gundabad amusement park, y'all. Because also the waterway in there that comes down, it comes down and around, and that is a water slide, or it should be.
We need a quality of life tweak. If you jump into deep enough water, you don't die, unless the water itself is poisonous or dangerous or something. I think that would be awesome.
And the glowworms, guys. The glowworms, we were kind of wandering around, and the glowworms are just as crazy there as Leroy Jenkins back at Glowworms Last Stand, a.k.a. I can't even pronounce it, somewhere in Madagard. But yeah,
the Glowworms
Last Stand. Glowworms Last Stand. His name was Leroy Jenkins. One little green glowworm towards the encampment there of dwarves.
We're just standing there setting out, and this glowworm not even chasing anyone.
No, he wasn't chasing anyone. He was just making a run at him. You could just hear him going, Leroy Jenkins!
He's gonna single glowwormy take over the whole encampment or something. I don't know.
So that is Glowworm's Last Stand. Also, we delved into the den of Puglok with Sans to see the pretty sparkly shinies and colors there, and it's really pretty. I do admit, it's really pretty. However, I died horribly at the beginning of the final instance versus the toad, and I could not get back inside. Because you go in, and the toad goes bleh at you, and, instead of you licking a toad and getting high, he licks you and you get high. It's weird. But the first thing that we get hit with is, we're in this decrepit castle, and we're being attacked by a bunch of Limfrains. Limraffins? How do you say that? Limraffin? Yeah, they called them candles. But we were attacked by them, and try as I might, my poor little champion could not survive, and I died. And at that point, when I woke up, when you can, once Sans actually, cleared everything and killed everything, and I could actually revive. When you revive, you're back on the other side of the barrier that you had to go through to get to the toad, and you can't get back through it.
So the good news and surprising news is that you were able to revive before the whole thing was done, because I was in a run with 2 other people, and we all got killed in the first, hallucination that we had. And we couldn't revive, we couldn't retreat, we couldn't do anything, because it said you can't do anything until the fight is over.
You would think the fight is over when everyone's dead.
Yeah, so we had to, Control-Alt-Delete kill the game to reset it.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, you couldn't log out because you were defeated. You couldn't be undefeated because you were defeated, and it said you couldn't. Like, it just grayed out all the options. And, like, the only way out of it was to crash the game.
Yeah, because
manually.
I didn't have anything like that happen to me when I've
They've...
tried it.
I guess they fixed it sometimes?
Okay.
I don't know. Maven was saying that she'd heard of it happening before. But yeah, it was really disconcerting. We filed a bug report. We're like, oh, what do we do now? And so we took turns making the game crash and logging back in and reset it to 131 and finished, but...
Yeah. Stupid Hypnotoad anyway. Also, again, stupid, Limraffin. Why are they called candles anyway? Candles. They're the dwarf candles of doom is what they are.
Why can't you blow them out if they're candles?
If they're candles. Is this revenge for hating their little brothers and we keep getting for housing items? Dwarf candles?
I mean, I'll free all their brothers if they want, if that'll appease them.
Okay, so this whole episode of the Den of Puglok that we ran, Sans, the only thing I took out of that, guys, was don't do drugs, kids. Seriously. You hallucinate about killer candles and you're stuck somewhere you don't want to be. You can't help your friends. Yeah. Krister, how about you? How was your week? Hopefully less hallucinogenic.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is not only were you attacked by candles, but I'm trying to figure out the police report at that point. You have a whole other layer of humiliation when you're trying to report this crime. So, wait a sec. You were attacked by candles? Okay. So that was...
Big,
so no, I didn't
candles.
have a candle. I didn't have the candle
ones. The red ones were the worst. Right.
But
there was a big toad.
We decided to try T3 this Friday with House of Rest, and that's where we understood that we have a glaring deficiency in the healing department, which doesn't really reflect in T1 or T2, but in T3, where the tank actually needs to live longer than his last stand. We quickly found
tank
that
needs to not be glowworm level.
Yeah, that it was horrible. It was just basically the moment that my last stand came off, I was dead. So we're going to try to think about the healer admitted that their gear wasn't 100%, but I have a feeling it's going to be challenging. So we switched to T2, did that successfully, and then we relaxed and went did lofts and forges. And I'll tell you, just taking a group in there is so much fun. I highly recommend it. If you're just like, you know what, let's just go just stomp a bunch of things into dust and just run around like idiots and just fire at everything and not care. Lofts and forges are for you in a group. But I was playing a lot of ESO this last week as well, and fought some of the big, giant guys in in a couple of the storylines. And wow, some of these boss fights are just so much entertainment. You almost get distracted from the fighting by looking around at what's going on. But I'm really liking ESO, beautiful game. And then I started playing Civ 6 again, and I played a Civ 6 game where I was at max difficulty, and then I had it was the final age and no turn limit, so it was maximum technology for everybody, and it has been a blast. It has been this horrible fight. I got ganged up on by two nations right off the bat, and they were already fielding giant death robots.
Was one of them Gandhi?
No, but Gandhi's threatening me right now. See, he's
such a warmonger.
Yeah, he massed a bunch of stuff at my border right now. But it was the Incans and the Sumerians that just out of the blue declared war on me. and they had 6 Titans, or 6 the giant death robots marching into my territory. I managed to fight them off with conventional forces, built a single giant death robot, and then started to push the Incans back and started to take their territory. So it's been just a blast. When you guys want to play Civ 6, I'm totally down for it. It was a while since I'd played, and that's a game I'm probably going to just play forever. I think that's probably one of my forever games. But Sans, what were you up to?
Well, this week I tried really hard to catch another Glowworm's Last Stand moment, and I hung out at the place where the glowworm tried to single-wormedly, I guess, it doesn't really have hands, take on the whole garrison, and saw some bats, saw some Gredbig, but no glowworms, so I was kind of sad. But I did enter Gundabad on 2 more alts, and I fixed their allies as well as I could. And I'm not sure how I feel about my minstrel's allies right now, but she has new allies, so hopefully that'll be good. And yeah, we'll see. And I ran Den of Puglok with Kilabathian, which was fun. For me. Apparently it wasn't super fun for her.
Would have been much more amusing if I had been able to get back down in there and fight you for with you for the other 2 hallucinations. But that first hallucination knocked me out, and I was banging on well, I don't know if it's a door. It's like a fleshy thing, but I was banging on it, trying to shoot through it and everything, trying to help you. And
if you could see what I saw at least.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I explored a little bit further into Gundabad with Maven and Natesh, looking for trolls to kill. So, that was kind of fun. And then I did some world boss hunting in ESO, which is kind of fun and kind of crazy in the areas where the event is going on. And I've cleaned up a good number of those now, so that's kind of nice. That's pretty much my week. How was your week, Terry?
I also unlocked missions this week for the Gundabad area, which was kind of interesting, except for the fact that having to go through Allegiance stuff again was not really on my to-do list. So yeah, we'll see how I feel about the Joruka story once I actually get through more of it, because we all know what happened with the Elf Allegiance. Arwen, I'm looking at you. And so I've done. I'm actually on I skipped the second day of. So we did missions Tuesday, and then I've skipped a couple days. But I'm actually still in missions right now. They're really long. Is my sole complaint about these missions. They take forever. And then you have to run all the way back to the beginning, which really sucks. Because when you're doing them solo as a champion, I don't have leafy feet, and yes, the cooldown isn't as bad now on the sprint, but it's still really. And I keep getting lost. But so far I've been able to see areas of Gundabad that I have not been able to explore yet with the group because we're still in Madagard, because we started so late on Tuesday that there was no real point in doing anything other than unlocking missions. So we unlocked missions.
Yeah. I usually, in most of the Gundabad missions, I usually find right-hand rule helps a lot.
Well, I tend to run that way anyway. It's just... the running back to the beginning is really, really annoying.
Oh, yeah, but I do find that when I run right-hand rule, usually I'm practically on top of the beginning after going all the way through.
Sometimes,
yeah,
except
sometimes.
That one mission where you had to run all the way up at the outside of stinking Erebor, and you were up at the top of the mountain, and they make you run all the way back down.
Well, that
like,
one is a
they
pain.
meet you halfway. Like some of the old missions, some of the old missions, they'd meet you like halfway. No, you have to literally run all the way back down to the bottom. It's like, really? Really? Was this necessary? I do enjoy killing trolls, so the missions with trolls are always fun. Right now I have snappers throwing me around, so that's also fun. And then Friday, I also ran around with the academy group, punching things. But having missions to do gives me an incentive because I'm up to 138 now on Terry. So yay, 2 levels to 140. And then I've also been playing some ESO, not as much this week as previous weeks. I'm not really sure why. Oh yes, I am. It's my other thing, but I'm making sure the rest of my alts are crafting certified. Not necessarily to do crafting certification with them every day, but on the days that I want to do more than just stable rounds with everybody, everybody's got crafting. And then my last thing is Craft the World. Speaking of crafting, Craft the World had an update. They updated their drops for their Chinese New Year event that they do every year. And so I got that updated and have been playing the heck out of that because it pairs really well with the Temple of Five Elements, which is already like an Oriental themed DLC for the game. So, and that was the level that I was in when the update dropped. They added a couple of new things that drop out of these little presents that you get, and yeah, that's just a massive time suck because I start doing something, and the next thing I know, it's been like 6 hours. I lose more time. Well, there's no clock in it, so I lose more time playing that game than I do pretty much everything else because everything else has a clock, so I can kind of keep track of what time it is. Craft the World, I have no chance whatsoever.
And then there's that like countdown thing that I always think is gonna help me with the time, and it never does. I'm always
because,
that's like 10 more minutes to finish something, not like, oh, that means I've been on here for however many minutes.
Right? Well, and it's also misleading because if you're running the game at like 2 times speed, which I typically do, like who wouldn't run the game at 2 times speed? Because you need your dwarves to craft stuff now, not in 10 minutes. That 40 minutes actually goes by in, I don't know, 20 or 30, I don't know. The 40 minutes isn't actually 40 minutes.
Time.
Yeah. So yeah, I will sit down and start playing, and the next thing I know, I should be in bed. So, or, oh crap, I've only got like an hour before all of the crafting stuff resets in ESO. I should log into ESO and do something. Like that. So yeah, that was my week. How about yours, Pine?
Right. I'll begin with my main warden, where I decided to try a couple of instances that I'd never had an opportunity to do before. First one of these is the Houses of Lamentation, where my Quick Hollow Warden went through Minas Morgul before Houses of Lamentation was released. So naturally, I never had the discovery deed on there, so I had to go out into that location where I'd never been before because apparently that location also had not yet been released. So went out there, found the discovery deed, then ran Houses of Lamentation, and this seems to be one of those instances where the geography is one of the big challenges to it. So the first time you're running, you don't know where anything is. I think I got a pretty good idea where things are now.
Took me like 3 or 4 times longer than it should have my first time through.
Yeah. First time through is always going to take forever. Then you at least have a basic idea where everything's going to be after that first time through. So I have a feeling that when I run it again, it'll work. It's a 4-boss instance. So it has I think it's 1, 2, and 6, I guess is how it's set up. You're probably 1, 2, and 6. I doubt that there's a 3 in there, but it's possible there's a 3 in there. But I know of a 1, 2, and 6 is what I know about. So I ran the solo version and I got through there. And so now I think I know what to do on that. So I think that's a fairly nice instance in there. Then I decided to try the Chamber of Shadows. And the discovery on the Chamber of Shadows, I admit I hadn't even heard of this particular instance before. The discovery deed is at the very, very north end of the Foundations of Stone, and that you have to go way east through the camp associated with another instance, then circle around back up to the north in this corridor that brings you up into there so you can finally get through there. That was a real pain to find that. And it was meh, I guess, as an instance in there. It wasn't one that I will continually curse for the rest of my life, but I didn't see anything particularly interesting to bring me back to it either. So more likely I'll be running Houses of Lamentation of those two. Now, my honor warden learned that when you're in the Bjorning lands, the orcs like to bait their traps with honey cakes. I had forgotten about that little point in there, so you gotta be careful in there what you do concerning honey cakes in there, because if someone leaves an unattended honey cake, if you find one somewhere in the area near the Bjorning lands, there could be orcs getting ready to spring a trap on you. And then on my Landrival Warden, last week, right after this show, I went and we did the Bloody Threshold raid. And this time I remembered to have the quest in my log so that I was able to get credit for finishing it. So now I have the goat associated with that. Not that I plan on really using that goat, because I've got the Jelruka Allegiance goat, and I think that one's a better one. But
that is a sweet goat.
Yeah, it's a sweet goat. And then on Friday Night Fights last night, we started out with the stairs, and that went pretty much as you expect a run through the stairs went. We had a couple of deaths along the way, but we did finish it. We did eventually finish the thing. So someone thought of the idea, how about we go and run Sari Surma? Now, problem with Sari Surma is that I am not particularly fond of that instance. I think, actually, in your absence in general, especially the later it is in the thing, because that raid, well, I think we discussed that a couple of weeks ago. And sorry, Surma, I'm not too fond of it. And I think they said because people were trying to farm it to death that they decided to buff that instance. And so it looks like that, right, because the top end people were farming it to death, it's now too difficult for any normal person to do it looks like, because we were just being brutalized with it. And when we came to that final boss, we were just ground into dust without anything. The one bright moment of that particular run was on that first boss. All right, we had a couple of times where we were trying to learn that first boss where we wiped on there. So the third time, I think it was, we were going against the boss, and I was the only one left. Everyone else had got killed in this thing, and we're at the point where we're fighting against the spirit bear. And I think it was down halfway, so everyone thought, okay, yeah, you can do it, Putty. So I was cheering one to see if I could do the thing. And I don't know how I managed to get through this thing, because it took forever, because we're talking about tanking wardens, DPS. So you can imagine how long it took me to whittle this thing down. But I managed to whittle this thing down, but keep my health up and going up, because I went down very close to death, but kept on managing to get it back up each time. And ultimately, I managed to kill that boss. I think we could probably have done it all over from scratch with the entire party of bastards that it took me to do that. But we just had to see, could I solo the second half of that boss? And oh boy, my wrist was really feeling sore by the time I finished that. But we got it! Unfortunately, when we got to the fourth, was it the third boss? Was it that? Yeah, we were just splattered by that one. So that third boss was the low light of that particular run. And that's it for my week in LOTRO, and our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a full LOTRO database that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. Also, you could use it from your Discord server with LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join us for this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the Donations page. We can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any reviews this week or emails this week. If you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. We also have the Twitter. The Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, LOTRO Players @LOTROPlayers, Arendis @Arendis, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda @Senswinda, Terryadwin @Terryadwin, Guarendis @Guarendis, and Calabathian @Calabathian, and Krister is hiding from us.
Oh no, if I don't put an entry down, do I really exist?
The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays today, 30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight, and this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.